Hello there, beautiful people. My name is Raphael from Visions of Raphael, and today I'm here in nature instead of at my place. The sun was really nice out today, so I just wanted to go outside for a moment. But I wanted to talk about something today, and I think that this is something that everybody can relate to, because I want to talk about getting older, and I guess what that's like, and how I experience it, and how it's really scary. Something that is very important to say about this whole situation is that growing up is extremely relative. So what I'm like my story is of course most likely not going to be your story, but I felt like I just wanted to talk about it, and I feel like everybody's kind of scared about growing up, and I feel like that deserves to have a conversation. In this journey, to feel alone in the journey of growing up is like the most scary thing, because you feel like you're the only one that's going through it, the only one that's scared. But we'll get to that. So the first thing that I wrote down, what was it like to be a child? From my perspective, of course. Like when I was younger, I first of all wanted to be an architect of all things, and now I am not doing that. I am doing something else. I I got accepted at fashion design, so I'm probably gonna start studying fashion design, but who knows how that goes. But when I was a child, I was very creative, and I wanted to be a mermaid, and I would play outside with my best friend at the time, Noah, who was also my stepbrother. Um, and we would just play pretend and have fun. And there weren't too many worries. It was like, okay, you need to make sure that you're home when the food is ready, and like if you didn't like the food, that's your issue. And of course there were some issues with parents sometimes, but I think that that's just mostly a thing that happens with a lot of people. It's not always sunshines and rainbows. I would go swimming with my parents a lot, and so I was very creative, and I drew a lot, and I would be very excited about having €1 so I could go to the store to get myself some candy. And I remember those chocolate cigarettes, which were problematic as hell. Luckily they're gone now. But I really love being in nature, and I love being in tune with nature, and having that in my play pretend, and having it be part of the journey. Elementary school wasn't the easiest and most fun thing, because I was thinking about this yesterday, doing some shadow work, and in the first time in a long time doing some shadow work, and I realized that it was a very difficult journey, because I've always been very genderqueer and queer in general, and I of course felt really alone in that journey. I did not feel part of the boys and the girls. I just felt alone, and this kind of made me feel like a nobody, which is, I guess, a little problematic. But of course, and this is still something that resides in me, but that's there's already identity issues with being who you are. And luckily I did get accepted by most of my peers and most of my friends, but I just did not really fully accept myself, in a sense. Eventually, when I went to high school, because when I was in elementary school, I would already be highly I was looking forward to going to high school a lot. I was always very, because that's the next thing that I wanted to talk about. Dreaming of the future, or the lack thereof. You think you have this imagination of the future, because everybody knows that most likely, if everything goes as planned, that things are gonna that the future is gonna come. When I was in elementary school, I would already fantasize a lot about being in high school, and I would think it would be so much better than elementary school. And I was so excited to get older, and I would get very infatuated with the concept of boys of that are a bit older. for me, it was this huge issue of like not really accepting my present and like really wanting to move towards the future and be in the future already and not being very accepting of the present. And like then, because I was so infatuated with the concept of turning 12 and like being older, a butterfly, pretty. But then of course, like once I did turn 12, like and I left behind elementary school me, as in like as cold turkey. Like I did not like the person I was, and I did not like the person I'd become, and I wanted to be somebody else. And I wasn't okay with that, so I would push away my inner child. And then as time moves on, like I started finding like more of a version of me that I did want to be and that I did want to become. And but I also got very depressed, and it was very scary. And then once I was 12, I wanted to be 18 really badly, and I wanted to get older even like worse. And then because then I was like, oh, then I'll finally be done with school. And I once again wasn't okay with the time where I was. I already like knew that I wanted to be older again and wanted to be somewhere else. And like still then things were kind of like peaceful. And I mean, like the teen years are very like there's so much growth that happens. It's your puberty time, so everything starts shifting, you start changing, your body starts shifting and moving and growing in places. And like because there's this concept of, you know, like, so you want to become older, and what are you going to become? What do you want to be in the future, and how are you going to get there? And so, okay, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be an architect, like I said when I was younger. And then by that time, when I was in high school, things got a little bit different for me in like dreaming. But I wanted to be a woman, I wanted to be like so many things. But so there's, you want to be these things, and there's limits to what you can be, and there's these concept of you have to like be making money, you have to be able to take care of yourselves. Like for some people there's even this pressure, or this really high pressure of needing to have a family, and finding a husband or a wife, or like somebody finding a partner and having children and blah blah blah. Like there's just so many expectations, and then you start living up to these expectations. And like we get here to kind of create ourselves, but in a big part of the journey, it's, if anything, like we're being molded. Like we are the clay, but we're not the artists. Like the artists, and we do get freedom, and we do want to add some things. And some people get more freedom in that, some get none. Like it's very relative. And also, when I was talking about like wanting to get older, some people really don't want to get older and don't think about that, and like just like have a lot of fear. Like it's all very relative. So please keep in mind that my perspective is my perspective. So do not feel, if anything, please share your story if you would feel free to and would like to, because if anything, the relativity should be supported here, and we should all be seen as our own stories. And that's why I want to be here and share mine. But like there's so much pressure on you, and you're like, okay, so, but the time doesn't feel that like you're there yet. And some people do feel very pressured to already like be making things happen. And I, for example, did not feel like, I felt very relaxed, because like I said, I kind of like really didn't care what would happen, which is very like it was very nihilistic, and I was very depressed at the time. So I really like did not really think about it too much, and I just wanted to get through that hard period. I wanted to get through the time 1313. I wanted to get through the hard period of my life. And like you might have like these dreams, but you might also feel like indeed like the lack thereof, the lack of the dreams. Like you don't feel like there's much to do, and you're like just very in the moment, and you're not like in any way like thinking about the future, and you don't want to be in the future. And I guess like that's another scary thing, because then we get to the part where I want to go next. It's time to grow up. Like these dreams have felt like dreams. I've had people around me that dream so much, and some that like me, for example, that did not really dream too much, except for when I was a very young child. And like now the times are coming near where these dreams can actually start being, like, we get the freedom, we're turning into adults, we are adults, we're getting close to adulthood. Like I'm 19 by now and I wanted to be 18 so bad. And once I turned 18, I was like, okay, well now I'm kind of like, now I'm okay with where I am. Like I feel that I'm just gonna take it day by day because now I'm just getting older. The pressure only gets higher for me, at least, like the concept of having to fulfill something, and now suddenly there's this idea of you have to become independent and you have to start making money somehow, and you have to make a lot of money because you need to be able to buy a house someday, and you need to be able to take care of your apartment, and you want to move out, or your parents want you to move out, or you don't want to move out, and then, like, of course it's still very relative, but like, let's just keep it at the fact, like, you want to move out and you want to start living your life and you want to be independent, but it's like, how do you do that? And where, like, because I've been really scared and struggling, and I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I think it's like scary for a lot of people out here that we're suddenly supposed to like figure it out and like get our lives together and be like, to make something of ourselves and make something of our dreams and start taking steps and start taking care of ourselves. And for example, I really want to be an entrepreneur. I want to like be able to take care of my own business and my own money, my own timings, because I'm just like a very all over the place person, and I cannot very like I have a very hard time with dealing with like a strict schedule, and I need to feel some kind of freedom in like my schedules, and I want to have friction, and like, so, but then comes the question, okay, so how are you gonna get there, and how will you make that? And like, some people like might want to go study, or they just want to get a job, or some people are very lucky and like they just make it, and they get this foundation, but like it also keeps shifting, and like it's also stressful, and we're also stressed. Like, school is so horrible. Like, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but like in the Netherlands it's so extremely, like, there's so much pressure, and I feel like that's the case in every country, and there's so many expectations, and it really made me feel so horrible. And now I kind of want to start with school again, but I'm just like scared of like, what if it's gonna go wrong? And it's like, okay, well, so what if I move into like a hippie commune and I would have some more freedom? Then it's like, okay, but how are you gonna take care of your food then, and how will you get there? And because at the same time you do want to enjoy, so like if you have them, of course, like, because I am like a privileged person. I get to live in a nice house in the Netherlands, and I got my own house. In my house there's so much privilege I hold, but still I'm so stressed. I'm still so stressed. Like, it transpires, like everything becomes like, because I still see the fact that I have to move out someday, and I have a cat and I want to take care of this cat, and that's like something that I put on myself. But I'm starting to awaken to the fact, like, I have somebody to really take care of. I, like, besides myself, and of course like friendships, of course, but like, this is somebody that is my responsibility. I need to be able to take care of Luna, and you need money for that, and you need time for that. You need to put time into making money, and this job might not feel like you want to be there, and I feel like I lose contact with myself when I'm at these jobs. I do not feel like I'm free within myself. I want to be able to like be expressive and be me, but then you have to put on this suit and like just this face, and you have to be there a certain amount of hours, and if you're late it's an issue, and you need to be there earlier, and there's just so much to growing up. There's so much to the journey of like getting older. Like Billie Eilish, I'm getting older. There's a lot I'm grateful for. Of course, that's like very different because it's like about somebody that's hella famous. It's like, how do you want to enjoy the present when the present's so scary, and like the present feels like almost a little bit nice but then horrible at the same time, because you're so scared, like, but I need to make it in the future, so you're working for the future, so the present is about the future, but then the future will never actually arrive. But then if you cannot live in the now, then how the fuck are you supposed to enjoy your future in the future? And I mean, like, in the situation of like me with school, like in high school I had a horrible time, and when I was finally done with high school, it was like a wish fulfillment, and it did create a situation where I could feel a lot more safe within myself. But then you start running out of money, and then you need to take care of the money, and And it's like, what do you want to be? It's not suddenly about dreaming anymore. Suddenly it's about working and making it happen. And it's so stressful. It's so tiring. And I feel like a lot of people are so tired. And then the mental distress that we experience on a day-to-day basis, the the lack of like a stable romantic relationship, the lack of feeling like you have a family to fall back on when you cannot take care of yourself anymore, and the trauma of this, which is leading into your friendships. And when you do have people, indeed, like what I was saying, like when you finally do have people that you can fall back on, you already have this stigma in yourself, like you're not allowed to, because you've been like resented so much in your life. And like this is once again just my story, but I feel like maybe you'll feel something in it. What are we supposed to do? And you cannot like break down. Of course you can at moments, and then you'll have like one day where you're like sick, or like you take a vacation. And I guess that is something I didn't realize. So there is ways, but then at the same time it's also really pretty, because the things that you wanted are starting to come to fruition. You do get the freedom to actually become the person that you are. And we're becoming, most of us, some of us, are becoming like detached from our parents, becoming our own individuals. Some my age are probably even like having children by now, and I'm still watching Adventure Time and just wanting to like laugh like a child and cry and like scream and just feel. But sometimes I feel like that's not really allowed anymore. And so then you walk out to the forest and you make a video of yourself talking about it. And I want to get older, in a sense. I want to start having my own stability. I want to be able to take care of myself. I want to be able to feel myself. I want to create my own home. I want to create my own family. I want to create my own. I want to feel what is it that makes me happy. But then there are days where you're just like, I'm so tired. And then that's okay too. But then it's like, how do you deal with that? And there's so much trauma inside of you. For example, like with some older people that I've like got to meet, like they seem so exhausted from their own emotional well-being, but they have children and they have a job and they need to make money, and somehow they need to take care of everything, and they do not have the energy to be in the present moment anymore, and they do not have the energy for their children anymore, because they're tired. They're tired and they're working hard. They're working too hard. They're overworked. How are you supposed to make it all happen? And how can you make sure that you're okay and happy in the moment? It almost feels like there's never a moment of like silence and just like being allowed to be tired. And when you do get these moments, afterwards it's done, and then it's about enjoying the moment and just being in the moment. And I do want to be in the moment. So then you meditate and you do shadow work, and you find friends to hang out with, you watch a nice show, you take a walk, you take a nice shower, you go into a bathtub. And I mean, there have been moments where I did feel, I felt like a manifestation, something I wanted really badly did come true. And then I do feel really happy about it, but then you do get used to it as well, and that's like going back to the transpiration, like like that things transpire, like that things will continue growing, and as you mold into this new self, you start to maybe possibly get used to yourself again, and you just need to really keep things in balance in life and constantly feel things out. And maybe this is also because I really have like a hard time grounding myself, and some people are a lot better at this, but I kind of lose touch with reality and lose touch with the earth at times. And because there's also this pressure to be successful, because you really don't need to be, because do you need €1,000,000 to like go outside and have a good time with friends? Like, what is it about the million euros that's gonna make you feel more happy? And of course, like, money can buy you happiness, because you can go on vacations, you can go travel, you can get yourself stuff that you want. But with that €1,000,000, like, once you get what you want, it's like already again, like, what do you want next? And it's very important that you're capable of like seeing what you have and taking care of it and making sure to continue seeing it. And because like, what was the worth? Because you wanted it so badly and now you have it. So, and but then you already move on quite easily. Not everybody, but like, it is like a thing that happens, I feel. It's like the more and more and more mindset, because eventually you just die, and then all the material things that you had are just gonna fall away. So create love, create feelings for these objects, for these people, for the people in your life. Feel grateful, feel happiness, and just create the love within yourself. I guess it's the art of letting go and being able to flow and accept that things are the way that they are, and that life will find a way again, and that you'll find a way, and if you continue doing what you love. But that's also a privilege, I guess, because some people do not have that freedom, and that's like also like the scary thing. We'll make it, one way or another. If this is found in love, in happiness, in identity, in creation, in existence, in meditation, in we'll make it somehow. And it's the journey of life. Take care of yourselves and find people. You can message me, find somebody to take care of you and take care of yourself as well, and just make sure to find those happy moments. And when life gets too much, write things down or watch a show that you really enjoy. Find beauty in things that you really enjoy. And when these things aren't able to be found, like, my main tip is honestly going to somewhere where you would assume that you would like being, and if you don't like being there, just stay there until you feel a little bit lighter. Like, when I felt really depressed, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the water, and like 6 times during like my trip there, I was like, I'm gonna quit and I'm not gonna go to the water anymore. But I was like, no, you're gonna be so proud of yourself if you do make it, so continue going. And then I got there and I sat there and I was like, okay, well, now I'm here, and I still felt sad. And then I was like, okay, there's this different spot that I see, and I want to go there instead. And then I went there, and then I sat there, and then I just looked. I was like, okay, I'm here. Then I kept looking, and I listened to some music. I seduced myself in a sense. Like, I looked at things, I saw the reflections in the water, I saw the way that the light was hitting, I saw the dogs that walked by, I felt the coldness of the water, I felt the solitude of the water. And suddenly I felt a little lighter, but I still didn't feel too good, so I stayed there for like an hour until I was like, okay, I feel like I spent my time here as long as I needed to. There's always beauty to be found somewhere, and if you cannot find it anymore, if you feel overworked, like, really take a break. Because you only live once, and even if reincarnation is true, then make sure to just still make this life the most beautiful one. And if anything, if you believe in reincarnation and you're like, okay, well, I need to make the most of this life, making the most of this life is being able to feel happy, feel free. And if you feel stuck in your job, calling sick one day, like, and ask help from somebody and just say like, hey, I'm so overworked, I'm really so tired, like, can you please help me with this one financial situation so I can just take a break one day, you know? And when other people ask you to help, like, show your gratitude and help them as well. Like, there's so many ways, and there's so many beautiful things about growing up, because you gain so much wisdom, and the loves that you find in due time, like, you start like finding yourself and start finding your authenticity and finding that self-love that you deserve and that you own, like, because we all have it, but we just need to accept it and find it again or over again and blah 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 blah, because you lose it sometimes as well. But you find these people that actually like deserve to be with you, and that actually like love you, that are designed to be with you, that are supposed to be with you. There's just so many good things, and we'll make it. Okay, loves? Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you liked me, if you like my perspectives, if you want to hear more of me, or if you liked how I was ranting for a moment there and then like subscribe if you want to see more of me, and like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video, and I hope to see you again. So take care, loves. I love you. Goodbye. Ciao. Can I post this? Am I allowed to film you?